You are now entering the Queen's Quarter. We are powerful, strong, and rulers in our own right. There's a queen in you, there's a queen in me. Every woman is a queen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Queen's Quarters. I am your host today, Queen T. So we're just going to start off by doing our roll call. I'm Queen T, and I'm representing the 50s.
Hello, I'm Queen Emma, and I represent the 60s.
Hello, everyone. I'm Queen Ty. I represent the 50s Club.
Hey everyone, I'm Queen Tams and I represent the 40s Club.
Good day, kings and queens. This Queen Jock representing the early 40s.
What's up, everybody? This is Queen Lady B representing the late 30s.
Hey, y'all. I'm Queen Nye representing the early 30s.
So today we're going to have tea time with Queen Ty.
Hello, everyone. And the tea that we're highlighting today is rooibos tea. Rooibos tea is a South African drink made from the leaves of the red bush plant. The plant is grown in Cedar Bird Mountains of Western South Africa. This tea is a refreshing tea that you can drink either hot or cold, and it offers benefits backed by research. Research shows that the rooibos tea contains antioxidants that boost overall health and may protect the liver. So try it. Go and get you some from a health food store, and let me know how it is. We're going to turn this back over to Queen T.
First of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you that have been following us. I would like for you to take this moment and like, subscribe, and share, because I know that each and every one of you know someone who could tune into Queen's Quarters and get some information today. I am so excited about our topic. As you know, for the whole month, we've been talking about addictions. So today we're going to talk about sex addiction, gambling, and social media. And I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. Sexual addiction is a compulsive need to perform sexual acts. Now we have a gambling addiction. That's also a compulsive disorder. It is an impulse control disorder where you are spending more and more time and money on it despite serious consequences. Also, social media. Social media, I know a lot of you thinking social media is not addictive, but it can be. Social media can be a compulsive behavior when you're binge watching, when you're using valuable time, which can be used to accomplish goals. And all of these behaviors can stem from mental health disorders, peer pressure, lack of family involvement, early usage, taking highly addictive drugs, and also stress. So today I would like to ask you, Queens, what are some of the reasons why you think that we become involved in some of these behaviors?
I wanna first talk about, I guess, the sex addiction, which is there. Everybody's like, "Ooh," but anyway, we gonna go ahead and tackle it. But it's what I don't. I think from childhood, you get exposed to a lot of different things, and I think some children more than others get exposed to some certain things, but I've seen, like, I don't know if you guys saw this on social media, but it was like a baby. He had to be like 12 months old or like maybe one, something like that. And he was like pumping a chair. And one of the mothers was recording it, and she was like laughing. It was like, where did you learn that? Where did you learn that? You know, and when you're young like that, you know, that's something you saw. So it's basically, you know, it's kind of like an exposure thing. I know a lot of young men, more than, and I know young women probably go through it too, but like the early stages of touching yourself and trying to figure that out, which goes and leads into masturbation, which is also a taboo that folks don't like to talk about, but it's real.
That's right.
And you know, when kids are growing up trying to understand their bodies and things like that, being that people don't like to talk about it and they don't really know who to go to and talk to about it, this is just an exploration of their body that they're doing, and it becomes something that they do more and more. Then you find like them looking at little Victoria's Secret books with the little model, and you know, you got the little bathing suit pictures and that kind of stuff in there. And like they have these feelings that once again, and I'm kind of seeing as we continue to talk about these addictions, it just seems like it's a constant secret. It's like something that begins as kind of like a secret or a battle or a struggle that you don't really feel comfortable talking to anyone about. That's you know, and I can only talk about my own situation. Of course, you know, I got two boys, 17 and 18, but they were young, and you know, I can put my babies out there, but you know, the times you got to come in the shower because the shower's been on for about 2 hours. You're like, wait a minute, what you doing in there? What are you taking so long? Like, you know, those situations. Or like I've come in and the computer done slammed down. Listen, it's all those things. And I literally had to pull it out and talk to them. Like, listen, masturbation, I know what it is. I know you might be going through this, you know, certain things like that. You know, I'm like, Mom, no, get out of here. I want to talk to you about that. Once again, I don't think there's no stone that I have not covered or talked about with these kids. I talk about everything. And I really literally think your comfort level is on every individual person. But what you're little and what you're exposed to and what you see, I'm telling you, it starts in the mind. Like Emma said, it's a psychiatric thing. It's a psychiatric battle. And when you don't talk about these things and get it out and really find some type of level ground or understanding, then you have it. A lot of relationships break up because people are cheating, because they're having sex outside of that relationship or that marriage or what case may be, because they're nymphomaniacs. And no one has ever told them that their situation was a battle. It's a struggle. It's beyond you. You can't contain it. If you find yourself in unsafe situations just to satisfy and gratify a need, an inner need, and you know you wouldn't do this on a normal basis, it might be out of control. The situation might be out of control. And you might want to say, you know, I need to really figure this out. But once again, Queen T, I think it begins when you're young, and what you're exposed to, and what, you know, them shameful feelings start to come in, and you don't want to talk about it with people because once again, you're feeling shame and you're feeling guilt about stuff that's normal and natural as you're growing. You understand what I'm saying? But the enemy will seek to twist that thing and make it a secret or make it something that you feel like you're alone and you're distant. And now it snowballs into a major situation where it can become to be out of control.
I also think it can, I'm sorry, T, but I also think that it can grow as you get older. Like once you start experiencing some things in life, you start feeling the need to probably want it more. And all at the same time, it's a need that is being fulfilled in one area that you're getting in that area that you can't get anywhere else. So I think some people do tend to go towards that or lean towards that because it's a gratifying feeling. I'm sure everyone knows. But it's a gratifying feeling, and I think a lot of people kind of lean towards it because it makes them feel good at that particular time.
And you can escape.
Right, exactly. Right. It's like a place you can escape to, if only for a minute, maybe
Wow.
minute, 5 minutes, or however it lasts. It helps you. It helps that particular person. So I think it kind of grows, as you get older. I think it grows along with you too. I'm not going to say everyone battles that, but some people do battle.
Absolutely.
I think you
Absolutely.
guys brought out some really good points. Like you said, only if it only lasts for a minute. So then it becomes it becomes repetitious, a
Right.
repeated cycle because you got that thrill. Now you're seeking for the next one.
That's
So
just like
that's
drugs,
crazy.
right? That's just like drugs. You chasing that first high.
That's right. That's right. And Queen Tans, you brought out so many good points. Like you said, you could be introduced to it as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So as we get older, we get that feeling of shame, but you need to understand it's no fault of your own.
Right.
This was brought upon you unwillingly. And then you begin to repeat and mimic what you saw. But I think an important point when you say sometimes the parents laugh. Now, how do you respond? Like as women, and sometimes you got a lot of single household, women without, children without fathers. So women that might feel uncomfortable with talking to their children, or especially if they're boys. Like, how do you handle that? Because we know laughing and making it hee hee ha ha is not the right thing to do. So how do you do that without shaming the child? Do you have any suggestions?
I honestly, to say, you got to be real. A lot of parents don't want to have these discussions. I would be real. My parents, they had a discussion with me, and that's what made me want to have the discussion with my boys. Like, because what I don't want is, especially my baby girl too. I don't want you seeking, like Ty said, seeking that, we all trying to fill a void, and you start filling that void in those type of ways, trying to find value in yourself, especially a young girl like my baby girl, or like the boys, just literally trying to satisfy those desires. But you got to be real. So I was kind of talking about how, when the family household, when it's molesters, or you've been molested, or you've experienced something at a childhood that, it's like a hush. It's nobody want to talk about it. You feel ashamed to talk about it. And say, even if you told your mom or somebody, we've had stories where the mom didn't believe you, or you just felt shame and you kept it a secret. You never even said anything to anyone. Those seeds that are planted is a snowball effect, and it turns into so much if not dealt with. And how many of our cultures deal with counseling as a child, deal with counseling as a teenager, to be able to work through those emotions? That's a lot for a child to handle.
That's right.
being violated and still trying to figure out their sexuality and their body, and having to deal with that load. So a lot of, and I'm not saying every nympho deals with that or have been molested, but you will hear of a lot of stories where they were violated and it turned into something that they just, it spiraled either out of control, or how they learned how to deal with their gratifications, or what it is that their body sought out, seeking desire for, not understanding, truly understanding it. So I think we really have to have these conversations very early age.
Yeah, but I think that's interesting you're saying that, but wouldn't you think this would be a uncomfortable conversation that you will have with your child, even at an early age? Like, you don't want to make that mistake in bringing that out of your child, but yet and still you want your child to know that these things do exist. Like, I mean, I can see it being an uncomfortable conversation with your child, like talking about sex. Like, really, Tam, when you told me you first, I was like, I don't know if I want to have this conversation. And I'm the sister. So I don't know. I don't know if this is, I know it needs to be heard. I know it needs to be, said and done. But how can a parent get over that uncomfortable feeling?
Well, you bring out a good point. You do bring out a good point, because everybody might not be comfortable with doing it. That way, once again, you have to get into a situation where you can, maybe you and your child go to a class, or you and your child go somewhere where they can be exposed to knowledge and wisdom. Maybe that if you're not comfortable, you be comfortable enough to get them to a place to go, be it 10, 11, whatever age that parent feels is the time to talk about it. If they don't feel comfortable talking about it, go to a professional. They have sex education classes. They have all kind of classes that you could go to. They have counseling that you could go to. But with everything that these children are exposed to in these video games, the TV, cartoons, have sexual connotation. Like, it's too many sexual connotations out there for you yourself not want to talk about it. Because if you're the parent don't want to talk about it, I'm telling you, they're going to find out from that cartoon. They're going to find out from these rap songs. They're going to find out from their friends. They're going to find it out. And for me as a parent, and me speaking for myself personally, I want to be that first one that plant that seed. That's free from me.
That's really good, because a lot of people say, well, you have to like monitor what your children are watching. But like you said, they can get it from so many places on a cell phone. Like, they have access to these things that we didn't have access to when we were younger. And I noticed with a lot of the older generation, they really didn't have this type of conversation with their children. But I think it's important to keep it age appropriate. Like when they're young, and you don't want to talk about like sex in a sense, like you would if you were talking to an older child, but you want to talk to them like in a childlike way, like, body parts and what's not to be touched depending on the age group. So I think you definitely have to keep it age appropriate.
And I think that's true too, Queen's T. Just making sure you're highlighting to them too. If you're feeling uncomfortable, these are the areas that no one should ever touch. These are the areas that, if you feel uncomfortable, if anybody's making you feel like X, Y, and Z, come talk to me. I don't care if they say they're going to kill your mother, or they're going to do this. And they say so many things to deter the child from coming to you and telling you what's going on. But I think it's important that you expose them to something, so that they can say, oh my gosh, if they're in dance and the teacher, or if they're in football and the coach, if they're in Girl Scout, Boy Scouts, the predators are everywhere. So if this stuff start at a foundational age and snowball effect into adulthood, now when you have a nymphomaniac and you have things of that nature, you got to be able at home to do your part.
Sure.
That's what really good. What about the rest of you, Queens? Do you have anything you would like to add? Because we're talking about several addictions today. So we just right now just talking about the sexual aspect.
Yeah, I just started with that. But if you're not comfortable, you start with the gambling or the social media.
Come on in.
Well, if I could just interject, for a second, as far as child molestation, if you have developed a good relationship with your child, you have to always make your child feel comfortable enough that they can come and discuss anything with you, no matter what the topic. As a parent, when your children are grown up, you'd be surprised at some things that come out of the mouths of babes. And you have to, in my opinion, be able to explore how much they know before you start letting them know about some things. You don't just jump right in and start giving advice or demonstration or accusation even without a child even really understanding exactly what that means. Because a parent can put that type of knowledge into a child's head. Uncle Johnny touched you wrong. And then the child go to school and be like, yeah, Uncle Johnny touched me wrong. And then what happens is they wind up, it becomes a whole big DIFUS issue.
Right.
Social services are involved, the courts get involved, all because some mother has said something inappropriate to make a child say something inappropriate. So you have to, as the parent and as the adult, be able to discuss with the child, whether you're the social worker, the auntie, the mother, the grandmother, you have to be able to discuss it on their level and let them know that you believe them. That's important, because you don't want them to feel like they can't say it, and then you determine if it's true or not. You understand what I'm saying? And then you can determine if it's true or not. But always let the child feel comfortable to tell you, but you can't just jump right on it, because I know some children that's not the most honest kids in the world. And I've heard of situations where it's been a lot of issues where this child or these children have said things that was inappropriate, and it turned out to be a hot, big mess.
Well, we have more reasons to why, these things can take place. Like, for example, we talked about mental health disorder, also peer pressure. Becoming very sexually active could be a part of peer pressure. Would any one of you other queens like to expound on that a little bit?
I didn't really know sex addiction was a thing until like one of my friends in college. I just thought he was a perv. He used to be telling me he had all these women. He had all these women. He had all these thoughts dealing with several partners, even strangers, on a daily basis, but he could not control himself. But after we graduated, he was like, Nigeria, like, I got a problem. I just sent this girl like my private areas on Snapchat. And he was saying like he had a girlfriend at the time, but he like needed it all the time. He just basically couldn't control himself, I guess. So anyways, he did tell me that it was really a problem. He went to get help, and he was working on it. I literally just thought he was like, like birds. I'm like, I'm saying, wait, you and me, my friend, no more. But after he told me, like, he literally had to get help for it and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, so this is a thing. He was literally addicted to sexual thoughts, anything sexual.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a movie out called Nymphomaniac 1 and Nymphomaniac 2. It's 2 movies that divulge into sex addiction. If you get a chance to watch it, you should really, because it's more than just about sex. It's really about the addiction. And it's very interesting, very knowledgeable.
Yeah, because no one talks about the downfall of it and what it causes in the household. Even with divorce, the whole nine. It causes a whole lot of issues. So you just really have to know that you have a problem. I guess if you logging on to porn.com or whatever all day long, so that's
a telltale sign, right?
Hello? And some of those sites cost money.
Yeah.
A
And
lot of
that's
them
a
are free.
financial issue, right? It causes something like that. So it's a serious thing.
Oh, y'all remember back in the day though, it was the 1-800 numbers. And they'd be bringing up your bill. That was the 1-800 numbers. So remember the commercials overnight? She'd be like, hi.
It's Cindy.
Yeah, right. If you need company tonight.
No, for real. But you see how it has progressed throughout the years. Like, it literally what you're exposed to and things like that. Like now, like you said, it's the websites because internet is everything now. Like, so, but I was watching this YouTuber. He's a Christian YouTuber, and him and actually 2 other Christian YouTubers it was all 3 guys, and they were talking about sexual addiction, and it was actually talking about the downfall of man and how they battled growing up masturbation, and how they battled with that. They battled with sex, thinking about sex all the time. One guy said that he was molested at a Christian camp with different older older young boys when he was like a smaller boy, and this was a Christian camp. It was very, very, very interesting. YouTube. They literally talked about some pastors and how they kind of fell into it, and because it's not talked about enough, people try so hard to masquerade themselves and put on all of this, dress up real nice, but yet and still you're battling with something really serious, but because you have an image to uphold, because you are X, Y, and Z in the body of Christ, or you all of this, you don't want to really humble yourself and come to the fact that, listen, I got a problem. And if more people talk about it, it's exposed. The enemy cannot hold nothing over your head that you take from darkness and put in light. When you expose that thing and you put light on it yourself, it's nothing that can be held against you any longer. But the longer you keep that secret in, the longer it's something in the dark, then he holds it over your head, and it's now more shame, more guilt, more shame, more guilt. But there's therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Christ Jesus. So if you expose it, you put it out there and say, listen, I'm human. I'm dealing with this. Do you know how many other people say, oh my goodness, if he's got that much clout in the body of Christ, and he is so forth and so on, and he holds such a high position, and he has a problem, then it's easier for me to come and say, you know what, me too. No one's talking about this. What can I do? What can I do to get help? So I believe that everyone just moves in secret so much that a lot of things just ain't exposed. But you bring that darkness into light. It needs to be exposed and it needs to be talked about. It's no longer taboo. We in 2021. So if you can't talk about these things in church, you can't talk about these things on platforms like this, then where you going to talk about it at? Kids need to know what's going on. This stuff is real.
That's right.
It's happening.
So we talked about money, like Queen Ty brought up the fact that when you go on these websites, you're spending money, and that brings me into the gambling addiction, because when you're gambling and you are addicted, you're spending a lot of money, sometimes money that's not yours, money you borrowed. You're gambling, you're taking money from the household,
taking out loans.
Exactly. And there's consequences behind that type of behavior. And that's when you know that it's an addiction, because even though there's consequences, you're still doing it and you don't stop. So that's when you know I'm addicted to gambling. So I don't personally know anyone who has had that problem, but I've seen a commercial on TV a lot of times with the lottery. They call the 800 number, if for someone with a gambling addiction. So this stuff is really real. There's people out here with those types of problems.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend that has that happen. Well, he will never let you know it, but a friend of his told me about a couple of his situations where his car got repoed because he was, he had a gambling problem. So he's still kind of facing some issues where, he goes and gambles, and I don't know what happens, but there are some downfalls that he incurred from gambling. And it borrow money, that's when you have to do back and do all that other stuff. So I do have, and then I know another guy that went to Atlantic City all the time. He was a gambler, but he won a lot as well. So he lost and he won a lot. So I don't know if you can say it's pros and cons with that. But another friend of mine was just telling me, he considers that his part-time job. He's retired. He'll go to the casino and he'll gamble. Most of the time, I guess he's up some, so he'll bring whatever he's up back home. But he considers that his part-time job. So I guess it depends on the person and the situation.
I agree with that, because if you're going and you're losing a lot of money, you're never bringing no money home, that's a problem.
Right.
And that's going to cause friction in your relationship as well.
Right.
Okay, but is it excused when you win the money and you still, you know, it's you putting out a lot of money, but you bringing in a lot of money? So is that something still to be addressed? Because you could be seeing that as a reward, but yet he still has an addiction.
Well, personally, I don't see that there should be an excuse for that, because the reality is you're still using time. You're spending a lot of time in that casino gambling when you could be doing something else, and you probably should be doing something at home. So it has a lot of consequences. I think those are not the only ones.
Right. Yeah.
I think when it comes to gambling, there's a few factors. The desperation for money, the thrills of being excited just to have a come up. Also, just being successful and noticed. Like, you know, the stain. Oh, he won that, and you know, now he's a big time gambler, or whatever the case was. I went to AC the other month, like what month was that? Yeah, that was April. I went to AC, and it was like people that was there from, like, I had just came into AC. It was the one old lady. She was there from the time I walked into AC and to the time I left. And she said that she literally has that chair, and people know she's known for having that chair. So even when she takes breaks, people don't even really go in that chair. And whoever does go in that chair, she just wait for them to get up. So it's like older people that gamble. I don't know if they do it out of boredom or if they just do it because it's just something to do. I'm not sure. But in any case, I actually had a little gambling problem at one point. And no, this was high school. One of my friends was playing scratch offs. He turned 18 before us at the time. So he was like, look, y'all, I won all this money. I think he won like $500. Back then, that was a lot of money in high school. So we all started doing the scratch offs. And my mother was like, hold up now, because in my family, they play tickets. And it was like, wait a minute, now I want y'all to be like us. We play these tickets and we can't stop. So anyways, I'm like, these not tickets, these scratch offs. And they were like, no, same thing. So anyways, we were scratching off like every other day. Anytime we can get a couple of dollars, because we were trying to get that 500 like our friend. But somehow, some way, we broke out of that because we was.
You ever win?
I won, but I ain't win that 500. But I won it, so we just kept playing.
Queen Lady B, I see you over there cracking up. Come on in, chime on in.
I never played a scratch off.
The old lady sitting at the seat. Everybody know that's my seat.
Right. So it's funny that we're touching on this. I actually growing up, I spent a lot of time in AC. So yeah, my parents were very heavy, especially my dad, particularly my dad, was very heavy on gambling. And with that, I don't know if I want to say he officially had an addiction to gambling, but there were times where he didn't make the best decisions because of his passion or love for gambling. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're going to come from my parents if I release this now at 38, but before I was supposed to be in a casino, I was very young and very familiar with how things work. So I get it. I get it. Like, I mean, like all the time we were there. Like that was like second home. And then if it wasn't there, my dad was at the racetrack, Meadowlands racetrack, betting on the horses. So all of that stuff. Like I said, yeah, he went pretty often. He went, God bless his soul, but he went pretty often. And like I said, it didn't always help him, assist him in making the best decisions for our household. And I'll leave it at that. So I know the ins and outs of, I guess I can say, having an addiction to gambling.
Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of answered your question, Queen Tans. Like, if he wins or if he loses, does it make a difference? Because like she said, he still made some decisions that wasn't so great for the household. And that's funny because what if you have a man that do win a lot? Queen Ty, right. And he like,
yeah, are you gonna be like, listen, here, stop this and right?
I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna take this rent money, this mortgage money. I'm gonna make this quick money. Are you gonna be
my
like,
dad,
okay,
you know, not to cut you off, but my dad used to be very lucky at a lot of times. And we would be like, you shouldn't go. But when he came back with that money, we'd be like, yeah, daddy. But you know, like you said, it's a gamble. It's literally what it's called. It's a gamble.
Right.
You don't
Right.
know if he's going to come back with a large lump sum or come back with
Or
a long
not.
face like, what did I do? Now we in the jam.
Right.
That's
So-
right. That's right.
Right.
I think it becomes more of a dick. I don't want to make excuses for anybody, but I
Right.
think when you start chiming, it's going into money that is not meant for that. It's meant for
Right.
something else. I think that's when it really becomes a problem. Because like Queen
Right.
Tal, I know people that do this and they love it. It's like a hobby. It's also like
Right.
I make money. I'm good at it.
Right.
And they
right.
do well with it. And I get it, but they're not tapping into funds that's allocated for food or for rent or whatever. So, you know, I don't know.
So is it safe to say that's the distinction? So how do you know the distinction from a hobby to an addiction?
When you're
Emma
tapping
coming
into
in.
money that you don't have.
Wait, Emma, you muted. You muted.
Once it becomes a situation where you lose control, it becomes an addiction.
Mhm.
Like all addictions, like every addiction we discuss, it's a psychological control issue. People like to gamble. They like to gamble a lot. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You know, I never win, so I'm not a gambler because I'm telling you, I can't win to save my life. So I don't play that kind of stuff. I used to work, and everybody would like chip in for the lottery. And one time we hit where everybody was going to get like $2, you know, and they wanted to like put the money back. And I wanted my $2 because I'm not a winner. So to me, to win
See,
my
that's too hard work.
$2,
Right, that $2 is
I have
major.
to say the difference in an addiction is it's always the psychological end that we have to look at as consumers,
Right.
as people who are trying to convey knowledge and information. It's not just the matter that you gamble. It's that when you're gambling, when your games of chance overthrow logic, then and it becomes an
Right.
addiction. That's when
Right.
it becomes a problem. Not just gambling, but when your gambling becomes a situation where you're addicted.
That's
And you don't
good.
even
That's
have to go to
good.
AC anymore to gamble. You know, we have these apps on our phones, and you can get
Right.
paid.
Gamble your
My
phone.
aunt pays them faithfully. She told me 2 weeks ago she won 8,000, and I was like, oh, like wow. I don't want to start because I know that once I win a little something, I'm gonna keep on going. I just don't want to take my own money, my hard earned money, to be playing these little games. That's like risky. I'm either
Yeah.
gonna win or not.
So
Yeah.
I want to touch base a little bit on social media. What do you guys think about like social media becoming a disorder or becoming addictive? At what point does social media, and we're not just saying social media, we're talking about television, like any of that, anything that you're on a computer, you're watching, you're on TV, you're watching. When does this stuff becomes an addiction?
And
So
how-
are you talking about the binge watching?
Yeah, like Netflix.
no,
Yes, that's what I
not-
said.
I've done that plenty of times.
That's an addiction.
No, you can't call it.
No.
Well, like once again, if you lose control of it, now you ain't left your house for a whole entire week. You got garbage everywhere, popcorn.
Right,
You
right.
got the pizza boxes still right there. Nothing moved. You just went to the bathroom, came back, got the remote. Come on, now I don't know. That's binge watching to a whole nother level.
I know a lot of people who get hooked on these shows. I'm sorry, Queen. Nah, they get hooked on these shows, and faithfully every week they have to watch these shows. I don't have a problem. I mean, that's not a problem. But I think, like you said, when it interferes with other things you could be doing,
Like everyday life, when you lose sight
yes,
of just everyday responsibilities and things like that.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Like if you can't put your phone down long enough to be at work without getting in trouble, like your state's getting there, like somebody constantly saying, stay off your phone, you're on your phone again. You know, you're supposed to be concentrating on this phone call or customer service, or the phone's ringing and you still on Facebook and you swiping, or you on Instagram. I don't know. That's a little, when you start to lose sight of stuff and can't really fit, you can't go a day without seeing what people put up on Facebook to see what's going on, what's the updates, who put a new picture up, who going where, who doing this. I don't know.
I think a lot of us have that addiction.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't.
Like, if you go in a grocery line or you in church or whatever, and you sitting there strolling on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever social media is out, then I think it's a problem. Especially if you, and I have done that myself. I wake up and that's the first thing I'm on. Like because you get these notifications and stuff. So that's the first thing you like kind of click on sometimes.
It's just so easy to use. As soon as you wake up, most of the people who wake up, they don't even be all the way up and they go on social media. One eye open, Instagram, all of that. It's just the norm. Unfortunately, I think I am kind of addicted to my phone. But I believe also when people are addicted to social media, they're pretty much being distracted from like depression, anxiety, loneliness. It just helps. It's just easy to just scroll and be so into social media for hours at a time. You don't even know how many hours pass. But if you look on like on an Apple phone, you can look at how many hours a day that you actually be on social media. And
you can look at it too on an Android, and it tell you how long you was on that social media. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was tracking it, I was like, oh, whoa, no, I gotta calm down. So now I don't even be on it that much as I used to anyway. As much as I used to.
But still picking up your phone, doing whatever. Like how many times you and not be on the phone, but strolling and looking at, even buying stuff, looking at like little different things. Like they've made the phone so accessible now, and it's like your lifeline at this point.
It is. We sleep by our phone. We eat with our phone. We talk. I mean, we walking with our phone. We do everything with our phones. So it's a phone addiction versus social media addiction, which makes it different.
Yeah.
So who's to say one is better than the next? Because I mean, this is what you do. Instead of having a conversation, you ever been in a restaurant and you see two people sitting there? What are they doing? Strolling on their phone. They're not even
horrible. That's not a date.
I can't stand that.
That's not a date.
That's
But
what
it depends on how you allow people to treat you. If you allow people to take you out on a date and you on your phone and they on their phone, you deserve that. Because to me, there has to be a certain part of the day or your situation where the phone gets put up. When it's dinner time, you don't need to have the phone. When you're having family conversation, the phones don't need to be out and you playing with them. That's just so disrespectful to me. I'm sitting here talking to you and you sitting here playing on your phone. I'll just be quiet and let you play on your phone and I can go home. Because that's very, that to me, I don't know if that is as much of an addiction as it is just rude behavior.
Right. And I actually, like, when I believe, like, especially after a long day, you haven't really seen each other, and now you're sitting down for dinner. That is definitely the time to talk, catch up on the day. Y'all remember back in the day when you would have to sit at family dinner, like you couldn't even think about having a phone. Everybody sitting down together, and that was the time to talk, catch up on each other's day, ask the children how their day was. So I think that is like so important just to create that boundary. And I agree, like just rude behavior. Like I have literally been at a restaurant and we're having conversations and you see people looking at you two like, and they sitting there on their phone, like one girl looking at her man on the phone, looking at y'all having y'all conversation, looking like, well, why this couldn't be us? Like, and he's stuck on his phone. Like I've seen so many different situations, especially with that phone and that dinner. You know what I'm saying? So
that. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And if that's okay with you and that's what you do because you sit on your phone, then it's okay. And it's okay for them to sit on their phone. Then you can't really blame the phone company. You can't blame
the phone company.
No, you can't.
It's the new norm though. To me, like the phone is not a big deal to me. Like we use our phones all day, every day. So like when I'm out with my friends and we on social media, we'll be on stories for a little while. But like when we actually eating, we try to, get together and not use our phone at all. But when we're out together and we're using our phone, we scrolling through social media, we could be talking like, girl, did you see that?
Yeah, but nah.
It's the norm.
But that's rude.
Yeah, nah. If you're
but see, that's different age. But that's different age range because Nas 30. So
right.
To you, him being 60, you think that's rude. But like Nas said, that's their way of life for millennials. That's
I don't.
But that don't make it okay.
Nah, hold on. If you're on a date now and your date is strolling on the phone and you're sitting there with them, how would that make you feel?
But
That's
she's
what
her friend.
I said, like when we in a group, like on dates. Oh no, we gotta pay attention to each other. And then if after the date, if you want to go on social media real quick, take a selfie and stuff. But also it's not just social media addictions. These social medias have games like Candy Crush and all of these other games. I know that my uncle, he older. He like my grandmother, like close to my grandmother's age, because that's my grandmother's brother. He'd be on that Facebook playing them games, and it'd be
even pool. Yes.
Like, whoa, come on.
So I think it's safe to say unknowingly we most of us have an addiction to that phone, even though it may be a young generational thing where you guys, this is a normal for you guys. At the end of the day, y'all losing that social interaction. So now when we're talking about addictions, you're taking away from valuable time, valuable conversation, valuable lessons that we talked about with some of the other addictions. This is why children are not learning, and the parents are not learning from the children what's going on in their lives, because there's no communication. So it seems like phones have crept in and became addictive to everybody.
That's true.
A little bit, especially in this time, in this day and age. I would definitely say, because like Queen I said, everything is on your phone. Everything is on your phone. So it's easily accessible. But I want to kind of talk about this 5G and this 7G. Is the reason why I feel like everything is easily accessible on your phone, because they can trap you and have you on your phone consistently. Do everybody, like if you are all of a sudden they doing all this road work and these under pipings and all this stuff happening, all this construction happening all over the place, and then next thing your kids having headaches constantly out of nowhere, or you sitting up there looking at the internet or the laptop all day or your phone, and then you're having these headaches. You got to kind of wonder about that. This radiation and all this other stuff going on, man. You got to be careful with all of this.
Yeah, they're tracking you, because as soon as you start looking up something, then all of a sudden it's popping up.
Everything popping up, yeah.
Social media that you have. So
you looked up one dress and now all elegant dresses. What you say, Mama?
I said, which is even more of a reason that we should be encouraging people to put their phone down.
That's right.
Turn off those location services so you ain't checking everywhere you are. You done checked in. You done went somewhere. So-and-so and done checked into AC. So-and-so done checked into that. That's, I don't know. Look at that. That's me.
And then you're doing that, and robbers looking, and then they come break into your house.
Wait, but you know that city. Wait, of course. What, the rapper Pop Smoke? How somebody saw that? That's exactly how he got murdered. Somebody saw something on social media, saw an address or something, and came to his house.
Yeah, that has happened.
And people done got robbed. Exactly. People done got robbed because they was away on vacation.
Yeah, and they're posting and they know they on vacation. So I post after.
Look at Tyson. I found a solution for that. When I come back, I post.
I can't say the same. Well,
I know we've been
on her phone, so I want to hear what Queen Jack had to say about this phone.
I was about to say, because I seen Queen Jock text coming through all day, every day. I be like, yo, she stay on the phone. So I was just waiting to hear her response. Thank you, Queen, now for putting her out there like that. Thank you.
Everybody on here know I be working. I'm not working for my job. I'm working for church. So I'm always working. So that's what I be doing. And yeah, I scroll social media, but I be trying to see what other churches or other people are doing, and I be shopping. So those are my things. But I can go a day without it. That's not a big thing for me. Like, I can go a day without it. I work all day and don't check social media. That's not like something. When I get up first thing in the morning, I check my email. I don't check social media. I check my email to see, maybe I missed something, or maybe I'm receiving something. I do those type of things. But yeah, I can go a whole day without it. Now, the thing with being on a date, and if he on his phone, I'm getting mine too. So we about to battle.
So why we not going to just say, can you put your phone down, please?
I mean, if you say that, put the phone down, they still don't. Oh, okay. Let me put mine out.
No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be like, what are you looking
But
at?
it depends on the person, like you said, and those boundaries to be set or whatever. So if they just want to be rude, okay, let's be rude together.
Emma, what you say? You muted. What did you say? You was trying to say something after Jock said that.
I said, then it's your time to say, just a minute, let me go get my coat.
And never come back. You gotta pull a nine. What nine take that there and put it, never come back. We ain't call a cab. I ain't
We did had that Uber on deck.
So I would like to. What'd you say, Queen Ty?
No, I was saying I'm with Emma. I would do that same thing too. Because it's more interested in your phone than me being right here next to you and we having a conversation.
That's right.
We're not meant to be together.
No, we're not compatible.
No, there's nothing for us after
I think it's okay to be on your phone though. I don't know. I just it's okay.
On a
But
date.
Not really on a date. I understand what y'all saying, not on a date. But you know, if y'all just together, even if y'all at home just kicking it, y'all can both be on your phone and be like, yo, you see this, ha, you know, all that. But it is the norm that I see kids that they're outside in a circle on the phone. So they're not even really interacting with each other. They're just literally in a circle together.
And that's a problem, because that goes back to Queen T when she said about the social. You're missing that social factor. The old days where you used to play outside and you had to interact and have conversations, and like now it's just.
Well, let me ask you something. Don't you guys think is with this social media and dealing with the phone thing? It's a lack of the communication between two people. Like, people do not know how to communicate now.
That's why, because they don't talk.
Nobody talks anymore. They
communicate because everything is a shortcut spelling. TTYL.
Yeah. I'm about to say they communicate. They just don't want to talk on the phone. It's easier and quicker to just text you what I have to say. Because when you get on the phone and we gotta talk, and then we gotta talk about other stuff.
Problems that I have with texting? The main problem that I have with texting is you read texting the way you're feeling. For example, I could text you, I don't want to go, and my thought is I don't want to go. Where you read it, I don't want to go. You understand what I'm saying? People,
so then that's when you say I'm not able to go at this time.
Right. But
let y'all know about that.
People still read into text.
That's true.
Way they thinking.
Yeah.
True. People read into text the way they thinking.
And don't put something in all caps. Oh my goodness. Then you get back. Why are you yelling at me?
Oh my God. It's a lot. I'm old school. So I put periods and dots and exclamation point, and somebody said, "You the only person I know that put." I said, because we was taught that's a complete sentence when you put a period at the
end.
Exactly. And I didn't know that had a meaning. And I'm like, really?
It's a meaning?
Thank you, Queenz, because I done put dot. Yeah, I put dot, and somebody was like, "Oh, so what else you wanted to say in there?" I was like, "Oh, that was finished."
Yeah, well, you
No, my mother was a teacher, and because my mother was a teacher, she didn't play you just ending, not having complete sentences. You got to put commas where a comma belong. And even when I text something, I put a comma in my text because that means rest. You understand what I'm saying? A period means stop. An exclamation point means to exclaim. You need to have those. You need to have those punctuation marks in there, because when you text some people, they don't know.
I just want to let you know, one of my pet peeves is when somebody say K, like in the text message when they're responding, don't say K, just don't respond at all. I hate just K.
Why? What's wrong with K?
You can spell out the whole okay, but that K just irritates me. It's so annoying. So yeah, I guess we read into text messages too much, because that K gotta go.
Now see, that's the only thing that don't annoy me.
I know. I put KK in a heartbeat.
No, KK is good, but just that regular K, that's like.
Oh, so the 1K is a problem, not the 2.
Would you put a little more effort in the 2?
I know, right? With the additional K.
It's cool, but that 1K really irks me.
So I have a final questions for you ladies. Now, especially during the pandemic, we had time to slow down, stop. A lot of people was indoors. We had time to really think about things that we desire, what we want to do, what we're good at. And from that stemmed a lot of people opening up businesses, starting clothing lines and different things like that. So my question is, does addictions hinder you from reaching your goals, from you becoming your best you?
They can.
I think it can too.
They can. But I wouldn't, you know what? Like, yeah, I agree with Queen Emma and Ty. Definitely, I think they can. But going back to our drug addiction one, when she had that addiction, but she turned it around. I believe a lot of things that, you know, when God allows certain things to happen in your life, you could turn that around to be a positive, to help somebody else go through that very same thing. So it just really depends on, I guess, like Queen Emma and Ty said, it could be that downfall. And if that if you stay there, and then yes, then that ruins your whole potential. But if you get back up again, in the words of Donnie McKirkland, and dust that thing off, you can definitely turn that around, and it could be, you could reach your full potential from reaching back and helping somebody else go through that. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
I do want to say something real quick, even though it had nothing to do with Queen T just asked, but like,
wait, but Queen Jock had something. She was going to respond to something that had something to do with it. You up here going off topic.
That's not Queen Jock.
That's all right. I was just going to say it depends on what the addiction is. Yeah, it just depends on what the addiction is, because all addictions don't lead to destruction. Yeah. So if you can get a hold of it in time, and like Tan said, turn it around, I think you still can be successful. And it doesn't always have to be a young person or middle-aged person. That's no matter what the age is, you know, as long as you can get a hold of it in due time, and I think you can turn it all around. You can.
I know. Which was going to take us off topic.
I was just gonna say that social media has really messed up our social skills, like effective communication. Because I can have, like, it was this one person, well, a few people that like my pictures, be in my DMs, like, hey. When I used to be in the clubs, you look at me, he just looking at me. I'm like, okay, like, you can't even talk, but on social media, you liking every post, you in my DMs, you commenting on my pictures. So yeah, I really think social media is messing us up with that effective communication, our social skills. I just want to say that.
Did you respond? Maybe if you didn't respond, that's why he don't say nothing to you.
No, it was friendly, like, you know, back and forth, like, yeah, thank you and stuff like that. But then as soon as you see me in the club, you know who I am.
That's everybody. You can have like 5,000 friends, and you only talk to 500 of them. Everybody else would see you in person and walk right past you. Don't even speak. Like, well, I'm your friend on Facebook. But
that's the thing. That's the thing. That's not the real deal. So on social media, you one thing, and then in person, you another thing. You can't even have effective communication anymore. That's basically what I was saying.
Yeah. No, Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I haven't heard from Lady B, so I just wanted to let her chime in a little bit, because I know she got something to say.
Well, I think everyone answered the question with whether or not addiction can stop you from being your best self. I have to say yes. I believe so. I think it can, because it's a distraction. Because once it's an addiction, you prioritize it.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's what you want when you want it and now. And it doesn't matter what else you have to do in that moment. Just like we were talking about the sex addiction and the drug addiction. When, you know, you have some drug addicts that has stolen from their kids, you know, or whatever it takes to get what you want. So yeah, I have to say, I mean, it's double-sided, like Jock said, because some people you don't even know are suffering from an addiction because they're soaring in life. And it's like, wait a minute, such and such is having a problem with that? You know, so it is double-sided. But even with that, that's also just surface. So what they're still going through something internally. We just don't know, you know, so I guess it's case by case.
Yeah. I agree with Lady B. I think that if you have an addiction, you got a problem. No matter what your addiction is. If there's an addiction, you have a problem. You can overcome your addiction. Once you overcome your addiction, then your problems seem to cease or diminish. But if you are a stone cold addict, then you got a stone cold problem. But that's just the way I think.
That's true. That's true. I agree.
So Queen Tans, before we end this session, can I give out the information for the hotlines now?
Oh, we definitely need that. Yeah, we can go.
Okay. So we do have a sex addiction anonymous hotline, which is 1-800-477-8191. And it's a SAA, is a group that follows 12 steps. And we also have a gambling hotline, which is national, and is 1-800-522-4700. And help is available 24/7. You can text and you can also chat. So now we're going to turn this portion over into the hands of our Queen Tans.
All right, everyone. We thank you so much. We thank you so much for joining in with us on these discussions. This ends our series on addictions, and we encourage you, we urge you that if you know of anyone that's going through any of the addictions we spoke of, or some of the hotlines we gave out, help with a lot of different addictions. So please rewind, share, and allow them to rewind, get those hotline numbers, give it out, because we need to help each other. We need to help each other. It all begins with us helping ourselves. So we are here for you. We thank you, every queen, every king out there. You have been a part of the Queen Quarters experience, where there is a king and a queen in you. So we thank you so much for the time that you provided and given to us. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe to all of our social media platforms, and we will see you next Wednesday with a new topic. God bless.
We are powerful, strong, and rulers in our own right. There's a queen in you. There's a queen in me.